When people heard the name Daniel Jones back in 2019, they said he was a reach, a mid-round talent at best, the kind of quarterback you take in the 3rd round, not at number 6 overall.
The New York Giants select Daniel Jones.
Oh no! Be out, be out, be out.
Josh Allen.
The New York Giants select Daniel Jones.
Oh my God!
Daniel Jones.
Gentlemen, what are you doing? What are you doing?
From the moment Daniel Jones put on a Giants hat, the world decided who he was before he could even prove it.
When are the Giants going to end this experiment with Daniel Jones? Not a starting quarterback in the NFL.
Every throw was criticized, every fumble replayed, every step he took was compared to the ghost of Eli Manning.
What's the most embarrassing thing that's ever happened to you on or off the field?
I don't know.
Takes off and he is gone. Trying to stay upright.
But beneath all the noise, behind the memes and media hate, was a quarterback trying to survive in the toughest market in football. But what happened next, the highs, the heartbreak, and the redemption, is one of the wildest turnarounds you will ever see in the NFL. This is the story of how everyone was wrong about Daniel Jones. Yeah, including you.
This no-name quarterback.
It's going to be like another 5 years, another rookie contract of hell, basically.
Let's go back to draft night 2019. The New York Giants are on the clock at 6. Roger Goodell walks on stage and says a name nobody saw coming.
Daniel Jones. Quarterback. Duke.
And just like that, all hell broke loose.
I'm stunned. I am absolutely stunned because now this tells me that the Giants don't know what the hell they're doing.
Oh no! 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 They did not take Daniel Jones! Are you kidding me?
Josh Allen. Dwayne Haskins. Daniel Mother O!
Fans at MetLife draft party lost it. Some were screaming, some were booing, straight up yelling, "Who the hell is this?" You could feel the disbelief radiating off of every corner of New York. New York's own draft guru, GM Dave Gettleman, was being cooked for the pick. Todd McShay bluntly called it a big mistake on live TV.
But I think it was a big mistake. I really do. There are plenty of good defensive players on the board, or just don't go that quarterback.
Right. Many believe Dave has simply drafted the Eli Manning clone. Daniel Jones had been coached by David Cutcliffe, the same mentor as Peyton and Eli. But as the critics put it, he was Eli 2.0 without the talent. A QB with mediocre college stats who had no business in the top 10. Before Daniel Jones ever took an NFL snap, he had been branded as the Giants' biggest mistake.
It sure sounds like Daniel Jones is destined to be the next big mistake by Dave Gettleman.
We're thrilled to get Daniel. He was up there with everybody else on our board in terms of value. He is just perfect for us.
But then, a few weeks later, Jones said, "Hold up, I'm gonna show y'all something." Week 3 of the 2019 season, the rookie finally gets his first start, replacing franchise legend Eli Manning. Giants fans hungry for hope watch while biting their nails and holding their breath every play. But Jones delivered a thriller. He came out slinging in Tampa Bay, racking up 336 passing yards and 2 touchdowns, plus 2 more scores with his legs. In a span of one afternoon, the kid went from unknown to unbelievable. The Giants had been down 18 points, but the Rook led a crazy comeback on the road, even running in a game-winning touchdown himself with just over a minute to play.
Jones steps up, takes off, he's in, touchdown!
Finally, a quarterback who could run. Giants fans couldn't believe what they were seeing. The city that booed him 3 weeks earlier suddenly had a new nickname for him, Danny Dimes. For a minute there, the sky looked blue, the fans were buzzing, and maybe, just maybe, everyone had been wrong.
You're aware of the debate about the Giants taking you at number 6 overall. Have you paid attention to it?
I mean, it'd be hard to be completely unaware of a lot of that stuff, and we both want the same thing. We want the Giants to win football games, and that's the goal of everyone here. I'm not sure I have a whole lot of I'm not sure I can afford to really focus on that too much.
However, the honeymoon in New York sports never lasts long. In the very next games, reality hit hard. Daniel's old issues with ball security, the one skeptics had warned about, started to show. He became a turnover machine, fumbling the ball again and again. By the end of his rookie year, Jones had the ball on the turf 18 times, leading the entire NFL in fumbles. Think about that. 18 fumbles in only a dozen games is crazy work. Some were blindsided strip sacks, but others were just careless ball handling. But he showed flash of brilliance one drive, then coughed it up the next. Fans who had been chanting Danny Dimes suddenly started whispering a new nickname under their breath, Danny Drops. Every dazzling deep bomb or gusty scramble seemed to get answered by a head-scratching interception or a loose ball rolling on the ground. Giant supporters felt whiplash. Was this kid a clutch playmaker or a turnover waiting to happen? The doubts that had quieted down started to slowly creep back in. By the end of that rookie year, the narrative had solidified. Jones had tools, athleticism, talent, but his turnovers were his curse. Just over 3,000 passing yards, 24 touchdowns, but with 12 interceptions and 18 fumbles, finishing the year with a 3-9 record. The haters, they were loud. They weren't going anywhere. In a city that once worshipped Eli Manning's clutch heroics, this new quarterback constant mistakes were unforgivable. Confidence in Daniel was plummeting. Remember that brutal New York Post headline from draft night? It felt more and more believable as the losses piled up. The doubt that greeted Jones on day one only grew. But see, the story was just beginning. And trust me, the hate was only getting louder. Daniel Jones' first 4 years in the NFL, man, chaotic doesn't even really describe it for real. He played under 3 head coaches in 4 years. Pat Shurmur, Joe Judge, and Brian Daboll, and also cycled through 4 different offensive coordinators. In other words, zero stability. He never had a Pro Bowl wide receiver to lean on, and he operated behind one of the NFL's worst offensive lines year after year. Giants ownership even admitted it straight up. We did everything possible to screw this kid up, changing coaches, changing coordinators, basically hitting him with every roadblock imaginable. But nothing captured Jones' weird roller coaster better than the infamous play in the 2020 season. A play equal parts breathtaking and disappointing. Facing the Eagles on Thursday Night Football, Danny kept the ball on the read option and took off running up the middle. And boy, he was gone. The lanky 6'5" quarterback hit a top speed of 21.2 miles per hour. Legitimately one of the fastest speeds clocked by an NFL quarterback in years. For a moment, you saw nothing but open grass ahead of him and you thought, no way he's going to take it all the way. But then a turf monster struck.
From the 12, Jones keeps, takes off, and he is gone. Trying to stay upright.
With no one near him, Danny stumbled, tried to keep his balance, and face planted on the 8-yard line. He fell flat on his way to an easy 88-yard touchdown. The Giants still scored on the drive, but the damage was done. The highlight turned into a viral meme overnight. Sports shows replayed the clip on loop, and the internet had a field day. Danny became the butt of jokes nationwide. His blazing 80-yard run remembered not for the speed, but for the trip. And somehow, through all the dysfunction, each new coach publicly had faith in him. Then came 2022, Brian Daboll shows up, first off molding Josh Allen into a star, and finally, the Giants tailor an offense around Jones. Quick throws, play-action bootlegs, design quarterback runs, less hero ball, more efficiency, and it worked. Saquon Barkley stays healthy, the schedule was manageable, and the result? A shocking 9-7-1 record and a wildcard playoff berth, the franchise's first postseason appearance since 2016. Suddenly, the quarterback who had been a punchline was piloting a playoff team, and in that wildcard round, Daniel Jones delivered a game of his life. Against the Vikings, bruh, Danny Dimes showed up and showed out. 301 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, 78 rushing yards. He became the first quarterback ever to hit 300+ rushing yards, 2+ passing touchdowns, and 70+ yards rushing in a playoff game. You could almost hear the fans saying, oh, so he can do it. Headlines flip overnight. Danny Dimes has arrived. Teammates in the locker room were hyped. Finally, he earned the respect of the fan base. One win, one night, and suddenly Daniel Jones is a hero. It was wild, yeah, but it was only one playoff victory against a Vikings defense that had been vulnerable all season. But that didn't matter. At that moment, it felt like Daniel Jones had answered all the doubts. The franchise and the fans dared to believe they had found their quarterback of the future after all. Now they did lose to the Eagles the following week. But riding off that playoff high, the Giants went all in March of 2023, a 4-year, $160 million extension, $82 million guaranteed over the next 2 years. They basically bet the house and banked that 2022 season was the new standard. Some fans were hyped, he earned it, but others, not so much.
Because here's the deal, I'm not that high on Daniel Jones, but I am high on Brian Daboll.
I think the Giants overpaid.
It is pricey, though. It is pricey.
I mean, Daniel Jones has never had more passing touchdowns in a season than games played. Yeah, I knew that. Never. So if I'm Brian Daboll and I am this mad scientist, if you will, I can only be as good as my talent.
Signed him to a long-term deal because he looks like Eli Manning and had the same college coach as Eli Manning, and he can sense Eli Manning, and Eli Manning took a while to get going, but Eli Manning was a lot more talented college quarterback than Daniel Jones.
And that's the thing. The Giants, drunk off that one playoff win, somehow convinced themselves they found the guy. But let's be real here. They were about to learn the hard way that one hot streak does not make a franchise quarterback. That bet was about to get a whole lot messier. The ink was barely dry on that $160 million contract when reality crashed down around him. The 2023 season felt like a slap to the face after the previous year's high. Jones went from a promising franchise quarterback to a human piñata behind a collapsing offensive line. Because 5 games into the season, he was sacked 28 times. Yes, you heard that right. 28, and hit over 50 times. It was as if the O-line turned into a set of revolving doors, politely ushering defenders straight to him. Every snap, Jones was running for his life, ducking free rushers left and right. His star left tackle went down, injured in week 1, and from that moment on, Daniel never stood a chance. By week 5, his stat line was downright ugly. 884 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 6 picks. Ugly. But honestly, not shocking if you watch those games. I mean, how's anyone supposed to put up numbers when you're eating turf every other play? Jones could have been Joe Montana out there and still looked bad under that kind of pressure. And because of that play, the hate machine kicked into overdrive. The only number people cared about was that $40 million a year. That massive contract became a talking point. Sports radio lines lit up with rage. Worst contract in football, they barked. And on TV, daily debate shows hammered Jones relentlessly. Every fumble, every bad throw turned into a viral clip or a caption like $160 million for this? You could scroll social media for 5 seconds and see joke after joke about this dude. Giants fans at MetLife Stadium were done being patient too. By mid-season, every time Jones walked off after a bad drive, the home crowd showered him with boos. Then a chant slowly started to become, "We want Tyrod, we want Tyrod." Imagine that. The Danny Dimes era had fallen so far that fans were begging for a journeyman quarterback instead. The nickname Danny Dimes, once said with hope, morphed into a snarky label like Danny Fumbles or Check Down Jones. The internet had a field day with those, and honestly, Giants fans were agreeing.
Look at that shitty ass fucking quarterback. Yeah, hand it off. That's all you know how to do. That's all you know how to do.
Yes.
Danny had become public enemy number 1 in New York sports. They all lined up to take their shot. Every week was open season on Daniel Jones' reputation. Stephen A even went on air and rallied that Jones was stealing money in broad daylight.
Are the Giants done?
Of course they are. They got no shot. The season's over. They are horrible. There's no doubt about it, and it starts with Daniel Jones. Talk about getting your bag and then forget what got you there. I mean, clearly hoodwinked.
And his ex-co-host Shannon Sharp cut even deeper with his now famous clip.
Y'all call him Danny Dimes? I call him Danny Crimes because he's stealing money.
Like, damn, chill on bro. But it didn't matter that a lot of the criticism was unfair given the terrible circumstances around him. The narrative had taken a life of its own. Each Sunday felt like Groundhog Day. Jones getting crushed on the field, then crushed by commentators and fans off of it. You could see it took a toll on him. His body language went from determined to defeated. Cameras would catch him on the sideline with a 1,000-yard stare. The look of a guy wondering, how did it all go so wrong so fast?
Was there somebody in particular that you leaned on when times got tough in New York?
Mostly my family. I'd say my parents. You know, a lot of people have asked me about, you know, you got so much criticism and so many people said this and that about you, but there's also a lot of people during that time who kept telling me, you know, they thought I could play or they thought I could do it. And
the confidence that was once there after that sweet playoff win the year before had been stripped away piece by piece. By late 2023, even some of the people that was riding with Jones and having his back had fallen silent, worn out by the endless mediocre results and embarrassment. In the eyes of New York, Daniel had transformed from hopeful hero to the living symbol of the Giants' failures. Fairly or not, he became the face of the franchise franchise stuck in reverse. Since signing that big contract, Jones's record as a starter was 3-13. 3 wins, 13 losses. That brutal stat was plastered everywhere, almost like a tagline for his struggles. And it seemed to clinch the narrative in people's minds. Daniel Jones wasn't just struggling, he was failing and taking the team down with him. In a city that never holds back, the hate was flowing strong, and Danny Dimes was drowning in it. The tipping point came in 2024. Daniel was racing the clock, rehabbing a torn ACL from late 2023, desperate to prove that he could still be the guy. Coach Daboll said all the right things in public. We still believe in Daniel, but their actions told a different story. Behind the scenes, they quietly signed veteran Drew Lock as insurance, and everyone knew exactly what that meant. It was a prove it or lose it year for Jones, plain and simple. By week 1, Daniel was back on the field, determined to redeem himself. But man, the story looks the same. The offense was broken. In his first 2 games back, the Giants offense mustered 0 points and then 10 points, 0 and 10. Like, that's it. Jones looked rusty, and to be fair, he was still under constant pressure behind that shaky offensive line. By mid-season, nothing had improved, and the team kept sinking in the standings, and fans' patience had worn paper thin. Then finally, a blimp of hope, a miracle in week 9. After an unbelievable 672 days, Daniel Jones finally throws a touchdown pass at MetLife Stadium.
Open to the back of the end zone at home.
Yes, you heard that right. It had been nearly 2 years since home fans had seen Daniel Jones throw one in their home end zone. It was a measly 2-yard toss, but hey, a touchdown is a touchdown. The crowd at MetLife erupted, a mix of relief and dark humor. Some fans cheered like they just won the Super Bowl. What should have been a feel-good moment only underscored how rough things had gotten. In fact, Jones became the first NFL quarterback since the mid-1990s to go 6 straight home games without throwing a single touchdown. However, even that long-awaited touchdown couldn't flip the script. The Giants lost that game 27-22, falling to 2-7 on the season. Jones actually had one of his better performances that day, 2 touchdown passes, even a rushing score, but it wasn't enough to silence the critics. If anything, it had amplified them. By now, nobody was blaming injuries or bad bounces anymore. The verdict was clear. It wasn't a fluke or a drought. It was just bad football. Danny's stat line had turned into a cautionary tale. Aside from the one solid season in 2022, he never cracked 15 touchdown passes in a season. And his last 2 seasons saw him near the bottom of the league in QBR and about every other metric. 6 years in, and the Giants offense still looked stuck in reverse whenever he was under center. But then a bomb drops. The very next week, Daboll benches Jones for undrafted rookie Tommy DeVito.
So we're making a quarterback switch here from Daniel, and we're going to go with Tommy. After evaluating a bunch of things and looking at a lot of tape, that's the reason why we're going with Tommy.
The crowd cheers. Relief is tangible. At 27, Jones went from a $40 million starter to a third-string afterthought overnight. Imagine watching someone go from a franchise guy to just a guy on the sideline in 7 days. Realizing there was no return, Jones quietly approached management and asked for a fresh start elsewhere. Both sides knew it was about that time, so on November 22nd, 2024, the Giants released Daniel Jones, cutting ties less than 2 years into that 4-year contract.
Let's see, the opportunity to play for the New York Giants was truly a dream come true.
And I'm extremely grateful to the Mara and Tisch families for the chance to play here.
Thank you to all my teammates, coaches, and staff that have done so much for me these past 6 years.
There have been some great times, but of course, we all wish there had been more of those.
I take full responsibility for my part in not bringing more wins.
A 5-year roller coaster, flashes of potential, endless frustrations, and everything in between concluded not with applause, but with a collective shrug. The once Eli 2.0 exited New York quietly out the back door. Cap analysts call it a historic misstep. $82 million for 16 starts and a 3-13 record. For the Giants and their fans, I guess relief beats sadness because the Daniel Jones era was finally over. In the immediate aftermath after his release, Danny Boy hit rock bottom. NFL talking heads wrote him off as damaged goods, projecting him as a future backup. It was brutal.
I said on August 19th that Daniel Jones, being a starter, is betraying the other 52 men on the roster. Because so long as you were putting Daniel Jones on the football field, you were not actually committing to winning football games.
Imagine how that felt. 1 week you're an NFL franchise QB, the next you're literally jobless. Most people would have crumbled under embarrassment, but Jones, he quietly went to work on reviving his career. On November 29, 2024, the day after stuffing his face with turkey, Jones signed a practice squad deal with the Vikings. It was a humbling step down in status, no question. But ironically, it was exactly what Daniel Jones needed. Up there in cold Minnesota, there was no bright New York spotlight or crazy media, just football. Head coach Kevin O'Connell welcomed Jones with open arms, even expressing a bit of optimism. "I've always been a fan of the person and a player. There's so much good in front of him," O'Connell said. In that practice squad role, he embraced being a sponge. He ran the scout team in practice, stayed late breaking down film, and basically did whatever he was asked to do without a peep of ego.
But then going to Minnesota, I saw how Sam prepared, how Kevin prepared those guys, Josh McCown, and that made a big impression on me. And I was like, okay, this is maybe the next level.
Weeks went by and Danny kept grinding. By week 18, as the regular season was coming to an end, the Vikings decided to reward his hard work. They bumped him up to the active roster as a backup quarterback for the finale. A small vote of confidence that maybe, just maybe, his career had a second chapter waiting. He didn't see any game time action, but he earned something arguably more valuable: respect. In that Minnesota locker room, Jones proved he was more than a busted draft pick. He'd taken that hit of being cut, swallowed his pride, and showed he was willing to claw his way back up. He had touched rock bottom, and he survived it. In fact, he did more than survive. He found a spark again. Fast forward to the 2025 offseason, he was a free agent once more, but this time on his own terms. And he was determined to find a team that offered something more than just a jersey and a clipboard. Enter the Colts. In March of 2025, they came calling with a proposition that must have made Jones's heart race: a 1-year, $14 million contract and an open competition for the starting quarterback job.
We got him. The Indianapolis Colts have signed their quarterback, not only of next year, but of the future. He's from Duke. He's a freak athlete, and he's ready to lead a team to success for the first time, long time. Danny Dimes, Indiana Jones.
For a guy who had just been on a chopping board, this was almost too good to be true, but Indy was intrigued by Jones for a few reasons. They had a talented and raw prospect in 2023 first rounder Anthony Richardson, but their GM Chris Ballard wanted a proven veteran presence to push the young quarterback without permanently blocking his path. The entire NFL world questioned the move. The Colts already had been through a carousel of short-term quarterbacks: Phillip Rivers, Carson Wentz, Matt Ryan, all former stars brought in to be that guy. To many, Jones looked like more of the same, another bridge quarterback and a long line of quick fixes. Was Indy really that desperate? On the surface, it seemed almost comical. Here was a team that cycled through every brand name veteran they could find, now signing a guy who was deemed broken in New York. But Ballard saw something different, a low risk, high upside gamble. He wasn't bringing in a 38-year-old on his last legs. He was signing a 28-year-old with athletic talent who just might thrive in the right situation. In Ballard's eyes, the open competition was smart. If Jones flopped, Richardson would be right there to take over as expected. But if Jones surprised people, the team could win while AR continued to learn.
I think the competition, because the skill sets are similar, they're both good dudes. I think they're going to make each other not only on the field, but in the meeting room. I think they're going to make each other better. I want them both to do great. But success is the team winning.
All offseason, Jones trained like a madman. He worked with a private quarterback coach to tighten up his mechanics and footwork, determined to show that his past struggles were fixable flaws, not permanent failures. And by the time training camp rolled around, teammates and reporters noticed the locked-in demeanor about him.
Very pleased with what we got right now. He's been doing a hell of a job. Really smart football player. Learned the offense very quickly.
Gone was the hesitant, battered Giants QB they remembered. In Indy, Jones appeared laser-focused, confident, and in command of the offense. One Colts veteran commented that Jones came in with a chip on his shoulder and a point to prove. Throughout camp, Jones and Richardson engaged in a fierce but healthy battle. The coaching staff truly split reps 50-50 with the first team offense, honoring that open competition promise. And to Jones's credit, he held his own against AR. Every preseason game, every joint practice, Jones treated it like a playoff audition. He was accurate, decisive, and showed off some of the athleticism that often went underutilized in New York. Then finally, in late August, the Colts made a stunning announcement that sent the NFL world into a frenzy.
All right, I'll start off by letting everyone know that Daniel Jones will be our starting quarterback this season.
You got to respect the decision. I feel like
He's a better fit for the team, better fit for the outcome of us winning. So you just got to respect it and just keep working.
Free from the New York spotlight and plugged into a quarterback-friendly system, Daniel Jones began to flourish in Indy. Right out the gate, he looked like a new man. Through the first 5 weeks of the season, the coach jumped out to a 4-1 start, and Jones's numbers were career high across the board. He has thrown for over 1,200 yards in those 5 games and accounted for 9 touchdowns, 6 passing, 3 rushing, with just 2 interceptions. For context, that's a pace and efficiency he never even approached in New York, and he's doing it with crazy accuracy. Well over 70% of his passes were completed, which is one of the best rates in the league right now. But most importantly, he looks in command. Gone was the happy feet, jittery pocket presence from his Giants days. Protected by one of the NFL's best offensive lines in Indy, Jones finally had the time to go through his progressions without a defender instantly in his lap. You could see the confidence in his body language, head up, eyes downfield, calm feet. And when pressure did show, he stood tall and delivered strikes or used his legs to escape the smart way. But the biggest change is the deep passing game. In New York, Jones really let the ball go deep, partly due to the play calling, partly due to the shaky protection, but in Indy, Shane Steichen encouraged him to let it rip, and Danny Dimes came out. We're seeing gorgeous downfield connections with Michael Pittman Jr., Josh Downs, and rookie Tyler Warren. 40-yard bombs perfectly placed right in stride. Colts fans who hadn't seen a true long bomb threat quarterback in years were suddenly on their feet cheering bombs away. The same analysts and football talking heads who mocked Indy for signing him just a few months earlier are now eating their words. Colin Howard, who once confidently labeled Jones below average, is now going back on his words completely.
Danny Dimes, he's Danny Dollars. He is dealing it, baby. Now he's got a good old line and nice weapons. Is he the next Baker? Is he the next Sam Darnold? I said, give me a break. He's throwing the ball downfield. This is not dink and dunk. Danny Dollars was 6-9, 10+ yards down the field. This isn't a mirage. He's not fooling anybody. He's making big boy NFL throws.
Imagine that. Now everyone is saying how the Colts are Super Bowl contenders.
With all due respect to the Bills being 4-1, but how about your 4-1 Indianapolis Colts right now? But Daniel Jones, he looks cool as a cucumber.
How bad is Anthony Richardson?
Jones, for his part, is handling success the same way he handled failure, with quiet humility. Reporters in Indy noticed a new quiet confidence about him, a sense of inner peace now that he's escaped the New York pressure cooker. Jones himself looks happier, smiling at practice, patting linemen on the back, showing genuine excitement to be playing the game he loves without a cloud hanging over him. Danny may never be an MVP or a big-time Pro Bowler, and that's fine. What matters is resilience. He survived New York's firestorm, persevered when nearly everyone had given up, and is rewriting his story with the Colts. The NFL is a league of narratives, and his story was written before he had a fair shot.
But I think it was a big mistake. I really do.
The moral of the story is simple. Early judgment in the NFL can be way off, and it has happened time after time. The Giants were wrong. The fans were wrong, analysts were wrong, everyone was wrong, except the guy actually in the arena. Daniel Jones believed in himself the entire time, quietly worked, and proved what he could do when the noise faded. And that's the real story, a reminder that sometimes all that it takes is the right environment, the right opportunity, and a little faith in yourself. So I ask you, right now, what we have seen so far from the Colts and how Danny has been playing, are they truly now contenders in the playoffs? Or is it just too early to really know?
The future of this NFL lives and dies with a guy named Daniel Jones.